everyone, welcome back. It's Moya K, Swedish Whiskey Girl. Today I'm back with another Kilchoman whiskey, and this is the 10th annual can't speak 10th annual release of the 100% Islay. So this is of course a distillery. I really can't speak. I'm too excited because the previous 100% Islay I've tried have been wonderful. So high expectations. But what I wanted to say was this whiskey has of course been made almost solely on the farm. They've used two different types of barley, Optic and Publican, if I don't remember wrong, but they've grown them in the farm surrounding the distillery. Then they've matured them, I think, in 39 bourbon casks and 2 sherry butts. So this is the second time, I think, they're also using sherry maturation with the 100% Islay, which is usually a lot of first fill X bourbon. It is a minimum of 9 years old, and usually the 100% Islay has have a ppm of about 15 to 20. My nose is so itchy because I'm so allergic. I'm very sorry. Hopefully it's clear, so hopefully I can nose things. But as you can also see, I don't have that much left. This retails is about £60, and I think on their website it's sold out. There's a lot of people that want this lovely whiskey, and it's bottled at 50%. Let's dig in. Interesting. It's like walking through a barley field or maybe a barn in autumn. It has this kind of crisp air around it, but definitely this kind of dry maltiness like hay or barley. Almost makes me feel a little bit more allergic, because pollen's one of the things I'm allergic to. Not obviously hay or barley specifically, but it's sometimes when I have this kind of dustiness, because I'm also allergic to dust, it just makes my nose itch a little bit more. But it also has this wonderful, almost cognac-y scent, so like baked cognac pears almost. And I think that cognac vibe might be coming from a touch of smoke, because it just changes the character of the spirit. Quite perfumed, like autumn evening elegant perfume. A touch of something artificial, like artificial candy notes, somewhere between maybe like Parma violets and artificial pear. But yeah, it's walking through a field on an autumn evening when it's just, the sun's just setting, I think, because it's quite cold air around it. Maybe I should warm it up, maybe that's what it is. But it's, yeah, so where my parents live in the countryside in Sweden, there's a field right next to it, and when we used to have a dog, we used to walk through the field, and I always love when it gets a bit colder outside, and yeah, it's just autumn's my favourite time of year because it's finally getting colder and it suits me so well. So this kind of scent just makes me happy. It's not overpowering, it's just quite elegant. And it's definitely that kind of pear, slight, subtle touch of smoke that somehow makes me think of cognac. Maybe just because it makes the spirit a little bit foreign when it's not heavily peated. But it's just a touch of smoke that changes the character of the other aromas. And then that kind of hay, barley. I think why I'm thinking it's an autumn evening is because when it gets colder outside, the aromas around you get a bit turned down. So if you walk through a barn in summer, you might get lots of aromas and quite overpowering, quite powerful. But in autumn, if you walk through a barn, because it's so cold, everything's a little bit, sits down a bit, and you have to search for them a bit more. So what you tend to get is the most powerful ones, which might be hay or barley. But enough talking, let's try it. Sláinte Skål. A wonderful mouthfeel, quite thick, almost a bit oily. And a nice flavour. It's juicy. It's a bit like an apple pie. It definitely has some malty notes, but because it's such a juicy, dense whiskey, the maltiness isn't too drying. I can feel it being slightly drying now on the palate, but I think you almost need the maltiness in something like this, so it has another layer. I think this one straight away feels like it has a lot of dimensions. It's not one-dimensional at all. It's you find something, and then you find something else, and then there's another layer as well. It has a lot of complexity, and I would love to try this next to 100% Islay that is only first fill bourbon. It's a touch of something that makes me think of autumn a bit more, which I think might be the sherry influence. It's a touch of almost like cinnamon. And I think if it was only first fill bourbon, which I love, it would be a touch fresher. It's almost, I see it a little bit like colours. So if you have a really golden, warming, almost like a sun colour, sun when it's beginning to set, so it goes a little bit towards being a little bit honey, like this kind of intriguing yellow that's almost a bit orange. But then you also have this yellow or more orange that's almost a bit more apricot-y, and then it goes to like the in the corners it going, so I can't speak, it goes a little bit darker, almost towards brown, and that's what this one feels more like, a bit more autumny yellow, orange, brown, instead of just being this bright ball of fresh like first fill ex-bourbon aromas. Just has a touch of something else, which is lovely. I think personally, I just absolutely am fangirling over first fill bourbon, and I just want to bathe in it. But this adds another layer to it, which might add a little bit to the complexity. I can't really say because I'm not comparing it, but it feels like it would add another layer, which if you're just looking at a whiskey as a complexity thing, it's a good thing, because you just want a little bit more that still feels balanced and well-rounded. It's just lovely whiskey. I would never say no to this. But if you want something that's a touch like more alive and a little bit more, maybe a little bit more one-dimensional, but with this wonderful golden flavour, then maybe that's the difference I see between only first fill bourbon and a touch of sherry. You might not agree with me, then if you don't, please let me know in the comments below. But that's how I'm experiencing this whiskey. I'm trying to talk about it in a way that might be beneficial to people that have tried 100% Islay before and want like a comparison. But because I can't compare them, I can't compare them directly, but from memory, that's kind of how I think about it. Just a bit more autumny. The smoke is there a little bit more now. It's this lovely bonfire smoke. And I mean, if I have to like bake it into this experience. It's a bonfire smoke. Still an autumn evening. Not gonna abandon that yet. But you sit on these hay boxes. You know when you package hay or package like straw, you can tie them up into these little boxes and you can have them outside and you can sit on them because they're quite compact, and then you have them in a circle and you have a bonfire in the middle. It's getting a bit colder, but you can just feel this dry autumn evening and the bonfire and the straw. That's how I'm experiencing this whiskey. What I love about Kilchoman, and also there are a few specific distilleries on Ireland I think do this really, really well. is this combination of lots of different lovely characters that add a little bit more depth and a little bit more, it's just intriguing. You just want to sit with them for forever, and you want your friend to have one as well, just so you can chat about it. It's a conversation whiskey. I'm gonna have to buy 100% Islay one day. It's probably my favourite expressions from Kilchoman at the moment. And I'm sure a lot of others because it's selling out as well. But one day I'll fight you guys and try and get one myself. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, it would mean a lot to me if you would leave a thumbs up and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. I am so grateful I have you guys. It's nice to have a little community and to hear your input on what's coming next. So yeah, just want to say a massive thank you for that. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.